So in the Championship, we do have a lot of skillful players, but who is actually the best dribbler in the league? Today we'll be finding out the answer to that. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've compiled a list of every Championship club's most successful dribbler so far this season based on successful dribbles per 90 minutes. I've compiled them all into a list of 24, and then we'll be going from the bottom of the list up to the top, and that's of course going to tell us who is statistically the best dribbler in the Championship. And there are some interesting ones in here, I have to say. So just before we do get into the video, for a bit of context about the numbers we're going to be talking about, Messi this season has averaged 5.4 dribbles per 90. These are the top 10 dribblers in the Premier League this season, so leading the way we have Adama Traore with 5.2 successful dribbles. So successful dribble is defined as taking the ball past your opponent while maintaining possession. Without any further ado, let's hop into this one. Starting at the bottom in 24th, we do have Hull's representative Malik Wilks coming in with 1.2 successful dribbles per 90. Now, this is based solely off his time at Hull so far this season, so not taking into consideration his time at Barnsley. And I mean, Hull let down a little bit because they did have Jared Bowen and Kamil Grosicki, who were averaging much higher numbers, but of course they've since left. So we're now left with Malik Wilks with 1.2. Wilks is an interesting one, obviously. He came into quite a struggling Hull side, so he was always going to struggle to get on the ball as much. When he does get on the ball, and it is his game, he can be actually quite successful. He started out well at Barnsley, you know, the opening day against Fulham, he was absolutely electric, but things started to fizzle out, and so far at Hull, just averaging the 1.2 dribbles. If he was on the ball a little bit more though, I think that those numbers could be a lot higher. In the 23rd, we then have James McLean, Stoke City's representative, coming in with 1.3 dribbles per 90. Now, I was a little bit surprised that it was James McLean as their most successful dribbler so far this season, but I suppose that obviously the type of side that Stoke have been so far this season, McLean's played a number of roles. He's played at both left back and on the wing. Not by any means the most successful player in the Championship, but he's definitely a grafter, you give him that, and in terms of beating players and taking them on, he's actually been fairly successful so far this season. In 22nd, we have Alfie Doherty at Charlton. Now, Charlton's leading dribbler was Conor Gallagher until he did get recalled, so coming in next we have Alfie Doherty averaging 1.4 successful dribbles per 90. When Charlton came to Deepdale, really impressed by him. He was playing as left wing back that game. Brilliant marauding runs going forward, got a good assist for the Andre Green goal in that game. In terms of Charlton's numbers, Jonathan Lecco came in just behind him, averaging 1.3 successful dribbles. Aidan McGeady I would expect to be a little bit higher, but obviously has not really played much football there so far this season. 21st position, we have Billy Bowden of Preston North End. Now, I saw this and I was maybe a little bit surprised, but obviously Billy Bowden does like to take on people. He's not played all too much football this season, just the 11 starts and 4 appearances off the bench. He did get injured earlier on this season and we've not seen him for quite a while, but when he is fitting on his game, Billy Bowden is a fantastically skilled winger. He's brilliant on both feet, but it got me thinking about the way that Preston play, and really, we don't really do that many sort of successful take-ons per 90. Like, we don't really attempt it too much. Tom Barcusen comes in as our second highest rated dribbler, but apart from that, our numbers are quite low. Billy Bowden, though, really do highly rate him. It's just a shame that he's been injured for so long. In at 20th, we have Clark Adore of Barnsley. He's averaging 1.5 dribbles per 90. I think what we're going to see a lot of on this list is wingers and fullbacks tend to be the people who are getting the highest amount of dribbles per 90. I think the reason for that is, of course, they've got the most opportunity to do so. You know, a fullback taking on their winger in front of them, or a winger taking on their fullback. And he's mostly played as a left back so far this season, and whenever he has played, he's actually done fairly well for them so far. 19th, we have Joe Rodwell at Blackburn, also averaging 1.5 dribbles. Now, Joe Rodwell's had a bit of a, I'd say, frustrating season for Blackburn. Blackburn fans, let me know down below what you made of him so far. I mean, he can be equally brilliant and frustrating in the same game, really. Saying that, though, he has been Blackburn's most successful dribbler so far this season, mostly playing out on that left-hand side, averaging 1.5 dribbles. I would have thought that maybe Adam Armstrong would have beaten him to the post, but it is Rodwell so far who's leading the way. In the 18th, we have Dan Crowley of Birmingham. He's averaging 1.6 dribbles per 90. Now, at the start of the season, I was such a big fan of this guy. I thought that Birmingham had picked up an absolute gem. Him and Villalba's link-up was absolutely fantastic to watch in this new sort of philosophy that Birmingham were looking to employ. But lately, and the more that Birmingham have been playing sort of 4-4-2, does Dan Crowley fit into that formation? Is he the right fit for a club like Birmingham? I think he's got a lot about him, but I'm not sure sort of as a number 10 if Birmingham are getting the best out of him at the moment. In at 17th, we then have Ivan Cavallero of Fulham averaging 1.7 dribbles per 90. Now, this one surprised me a little bit. Cavallero was quite a bit lower down on this list than I expected him to be. I thought he'd be at least in the top 10, certainly in terms of sort of technical ability for wingers. Cavallero is definitely up there. I think the thing that holds back his numbers this season is the way that Fulham like to play. Obviously, they like their possession. I think it's fair to say, you know, when you watch a Fulham game, a lot of it is spent with sort of passing around the back, slowly building up the play, and then the knock-on effect that that has for their wingers is they don't actually get to take on on as many people per 90 as they probably like to. In his 16th, we have Andre Ayew of Swansea. He's averaging 1.8 dribbles per 90. Same with Cavallero, really. I thought that Ayew would be maybe a little bit further up on this list than down in 16th. He is Swansea's most successful dribbler so far this season, but I thought that compared to some others, he may be bumped up a little bit more as well. But once again, it's maybe the similar occurrence to Fulham as well. The way that Swansea like to play doesn't always allow for Ayew to be, you know, constantly taking on people. 15th, we got Bakuna from Huddersfield. Now, he's actually the first sort of central-based player that we got on this list. Everyone previously has either been a winger or a fullback. They're the main positions they played so far this season. So the fact that Bakuna is so high up this list in 15th, playing a central position, really is a testament to how good he's been so far this season. It's a lot harder in those central positions to average as many dribbles, as you really get less opportunities to do so. You know, you'd expect to have more passes, but in the centre of the pitch, you get less sort of 1v1 opportunities to open up. But Bakuna this season, I mean, he's scored a catalogue of worldies. But with 1.9 dribbles per 90, that just goes to show how good he's been on the ball as well. 14th, we got Anthony Robinson of Wigan Athletic. He was so close to a move in January to AC Milan. In the end, that didn't materialise, but this season at Wigan has been one of their more consistent players. He's a really efficient attacking fullback. It was no surprise to see there was as much interest as there was in Robinson during January. He's averaged 1.9 successful dribbles per 90. For an upcoming fullback in the Championship, I put Robinson right up there. Another fullback who you could say the same about would be Jayden Bogle. He's coming in 13th, also averaging 1.9 successful dribbles. Last season was really Bogle's breakthrough year, but this season I've really enjoyed him as well. Obviously, playing at right back, he's a fantastic option down that right hand side. Makes marauding runs going forward. When Preston played Derby away, I was really impressed by Bogle. I think especially earlier on the season when Derby was struggling for a bit of creativity, Bogle, even as their right back, was a focal point of a lot of their attacks actually. He is very good on the ball. I think he's continued to develop his attacking game this season. In at the midway point, coming in 12th, we have Jack Harrison of Leeds United. He fends off the likes of Helder Costa and Pablo Hernandez and has been Leeds United's most successful dribbler so far this season, also averaging 1.9 dribbles per 90. Now, this one was one I was interested to see, and in my previous video when I gave you guys my Championship team of the season, the one omission that I made from that team that I probably got the most flack for was leaving Jack Harrison out. And I mean, he's been absolutely terrific so far this season. He's got 5 goals, 7 assists. From last season as well, I think he's come on leaps and bounds. He's also second in the squad, only behind Pablo Hernandez for key passes this season, which shows how influential he's been. 11th, we got a former Leeds player. That is Izzy Brown of Luton this season, averaging 2 dribbles per 90. Once again, I think this one's made even more impressive by the fact that he's mostly played in a central position so far this season. Like I mentioned before, it's always harder to rack up the numbers when you're playing that role, but playing as an attacking midfielder when he has featured for Luton has been a fantastic source of creativity. He's got 6 assists this season. He's their most successful player for key passes and dribbles per 90, and I think that obviously things didn't work out for him at Leeds because of injuries, but when he is fully fit, really influential player at this level. But now we are getting into the real business of this video, into the top 10. Coming in 10th position, we have Kadeem Harris of Sheffield Wednesday. He started out the season like an absolute house on fire at Wednesday. He was absolutely flying at the start of the year. I'd say for the first sort of 2, maybe 3 months of the season, Kadeem Harris was absolutely electric for them. So far this season, he's also averaged 2 successful dribbles per 90. But similar to a lot of players at Wednesday's, performances of late have just sort of tailed off a little bit really, which has been a shame because when you do get him on the ball in the right positions, he can be an absolutely explosive player. 9th place, now this one surprised me a little bit, but we do have Sammy Amiobi of Nottingham Forest averaging 2.2 successful dribbles per 90. Now, of the whole Nottingham Forest team, I thought that maybe Thiago Silva, he's quite a technical player, he might get in there. Joe Lolly perhaps as well. Obviously, we've not really seen much of Jarrod Carvalho, but it's Sammy Amiobi who's leading the way, and fair play to him. At the start of the season, not many people gave him much of a chance, obviously. His time at Bolton was a little bit hit and miss. He's such an unorthodox winger though, and an awkward player to mark and go up against, that he's got his own way of playing and that works for him. 8th position, we got Millwall's Jed Wallace. It's been a terrific season for him with 19 goal contributions, but on the ball as well, he's also been excellent. He is the player who Millwall look to in those 1v1 situations, who can be fantastic, beating a man and then either getting a crossing or looking to fire it in the top corner. We've seen him do that a couple of times this season. He's also averaging 2.2 dribbles. In 7th position, we have Jada Silva of Bristol City, one of the best attacking fullbacks in the league this season, averaging 2.2 dribbles per 90. I think it's that low centre of gravity which works so well for him. He's been a terrific signing. It was a shame about the injury he picked up. That meant that he missed a chunk of this season, but when he is fully fit, I mean, Bristol City fans will tell you what an option he is down that left-hand side. In 6th position, we then have Grady Diangana of West Brom. West Brom, I was interested to find out who was their most successful dribbler. Would it be Pereira? But I think in the end, it had to be be Diangana, didn't it? I mean, this guy and some of the skills he's whipped out so far this season, the ease of which he takes the ball past people, I think it had to be Diangana, right? He's averaged 2.3 dribbles per 90. He's the defender's nightmare. He's quick as lightning. He can accelerate like that and he's gone. 5 goals, 5 assists for him. Once again, similar to De Silva. It's a shame about the injury, really. In 5th position, this one's going to be a surprise to quite a few people, but it's actually going to be Albert Adoma, currently out on loan at Cardiff. Made the move from Forest to Cardiff in January. Now, the stats for this one are skewed a little bit, I have to admit, as he did obviously make the move in January and hasn't played as much football as everyone else on this list. But even in that time at Cardiff so far, he's averaged 2.5 dribbles per 90, which is a fantastic record. And I think if you're building the Championship sort of most consistent team of the decade, Albert Adoma is definitely in with a shout of getting in there. And so far at Cardiff, he's been really successful. In 4th position, we then have Patrick Roberts of Middlesbrough, currently on loan from Man City. Now, once again, the stats for this one are a little bit skewed by the fact that, similar to Adoma, he also made the move in January, so he's not played all too many matches so far this season. But I mean, his first few appearances for Borough, this guy was absolutely electric. You know, they dipped into the January market fairly early on. They were lacking quite a bit of creativity, but Patrick Roberts in the Championship, when he's fully fit, can be absolutely dazzling. I really hope that someone else next season gets him on loan, because I think that given a full season, he could be fantastic. But now we do move on into our top 3. I think that these 3 players in terms of dribbling are set apart from everyone else in the league. I do think there is quite a bit of a gap in this one. And let me tell you, there is not much in it at all. So coming in 3rd position, we do have Ebere Eze of QPR. He's averaging 3 successful dribbles per 90. QPR are actually really strong in this department. Brightisai Samuel was another shout. He's just pipped to the mark by Eze, with Asai Samuel averaging 2.8 per 90. We all know how good Eze is on the ball. You know, I go back to that goal he scored on the opening day against Stoke, was absolutely ridiculous. That run from the halfway line and then finish. And actually, in terms of the most successful dribbles so far this season, and it is actually Eze that is number 1 in the league with 111. But as he does have more appearances than the other 2 players, and we're doing this off most successful dribbles per 90, Eze's just pipped to the mark by 2 other players. So coming in as the 2nd most successful dribbler so far this season, averaging 3.1 dribbles per 90, we have Said Benrahma of Brentford. I would say the most skillful player in the league. I think that in terms of the tricks he regularly pulls out and the way he moves past people and the way he's so smooth on the ball, in the Championship, I'd say that Benrahma is a fullback's like number 1 nightmare. Like, people just can't contain him. To add to that as well, obviously he has the end product. You know, he stacks up there for goals and assists. It's no surprise at all to see him so high in this list, but he's just pipped the mark by 1 other player. So coming in this season as the most successful dribbler in the Championship, averaging 3.2 successful dribbles per 90, so just edging out Benrahma and Eze, it is Ovi Ejaria of Reading. In the build up to making this video, I was watching a compilation of all the players in the top 10, and Ejaria, some of Ejaria's highlights so far this season, he makes people just look stupid. Like, I went to Reading away this season with Preston, and one of the runs that he went on, he actually went on 2. The guy's an absolute joke in terms of doing drag backs, little touches and feints to keep it away from players. He had about 5 Preston players around him. No one could get near to the ball. He's so effective in those tight areas. It's sort of like Ronaldinho with the way he plays and the way he's able to maneuver out of those situations. It's an absolute joke at times. I don't always think he gets the credit he deserves, because he plays a little bit further back than a lot of other people we've mentioned so far, so he doesn't get as many goals and assists. He's got 3 goals and 4 assists so far this season. He's very similar to someone like Jack Grealish in the Championship, I'd say. He's absolutely outstanding at progressing the play and getting people moving forward, and on the ball and taking on people. We've seen by the stats he's been the most successful this season. So guys, there you have it. There is your 1 to 24 of the most successful dribblers in the Championship so far this season. So let me know down below, were you surprised by the results? What do you make of your club's most successful dribbler? Were you surprised or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But other than that will now wrap it up for today's video. So if you think you're going to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you do subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content, and please do subscribe if you are new around here. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.